Ah, yes, the classic Barbarian. Perceived to be either uncivilized or primitive. A staple in the Diablo setting nonetheless, and an adaptation from the warrior in Diablo 1. With his massive over-the-top weapons and little to no armor because, fuck it, when you're built like a brick shithouse, who cares? He's basically the Chuck Norris of the Diablo franchise, leaving all the forces of hell in his wake. So, when I started to hear the rumors that the Barbarian was dog shit...
What?!
We are so serious, guys.
You're fucking high! Are you out of your mind?!
Wait, what? Well, guess who's starting a Barbarian, boys? Hey, Ma! Is it Friday yet? What up? It's Goose, and today I want to talk about the Barbarian. So does the Barbarian suck? Nope. That's the short answer. But there's been a lot of controversy about several of the classes in Diablo 4, and today I really want to focus on the Barbarian class and just share my experience during the beta. I did manage to play both weekends of the beta. The first weekend, I did go sorceress, which I had a ton of fun. I did really like the class. But after the first weekend kind of came and went, there was a lot of rumors and discussions about how weak the Barbarian supposedly was. The Barbarian is not at all weak. In fact, I think he's one of the most powerful classes in the game, besides like the sorceress. In this video, we're going to go ahead and break that down. This isn't going to be an in-depth build guide, but I will highlight a few key things with the Barbarian class, and then at the end I'll give a few thoughts as well. The skill tree for Diablo 4 has been simplified quite a bit, and it doesn't allow for a crazy amount of customization. I fear that a lot of players are going to feel pigeonholed into going with whatever affixes they find early on in the game. Instead of being able to alter your abilities through the tree, I guess Blizzard has decided to attach these alterations or ability upgrades through items. I'll touch more on this in depth in another video, but I want people to understand that I don't really consider this to be much of a personalized build. Alright, so what is the Berserking Barb? Berserking gives you a 25% bonus damage increase, as well as a 15% movement speed for 5 seconds. And then certain abilities you use also give you Berserking when you're attacking enemies. So the goal of the Berserking Barbarian is to be cycling through these abilities as you're attacking mobs, and you're in this constant state of Berserking for the bonuses. It allows you to quickly move through enemies, you're zipping around the map, the damage is insane, you're gonna melt bosses, and you'll be able to clear dungeons very quickly. When it comes to your gear, the line items that you're gonna want to look for are maximum life, strength, pluses to death blow, pluses to upheaval, and then you'll also want to start looking for percent damage bonuses to close enemies, plus percentage to flat out damage, pluses to crit chance, and then you'll probably want to finalize things with a good amount of percentage movement speed for your boots, as well as your amulet. A few noteworthy affixes you're going to want to look for are attacking enemies with a basic skill increases the damage of your next core skill cast by a certain percentage up to 50%. Whenever you deal direct damage while berserking, inflict a certain percentage of the base damage dealt as additional bleeding damage over 5 seconds. You gain a certain amount of fury per second while berserking. You'll also eventually want to find the affix that lowers the cooldown based on how many enemies are around when you use your shout abilities. You'll be spamming these all the time, and it helps keep the berserking up as well. I also encourage you guys to pause at certain parts of me showing off the gear. That way you can get the full picture. I wanted to give you guys enough time to see each piece of gear and specifically all the different affixes you'll want to aim for. And one last thing, I'd like to highlight something just in case you missed it. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Yes, I did get this to drop from the level 35 elite that everyone was farming, but let's be honest, have you seen anything as magnificent as that during the beta on any channel? I certainly haven't. And if you have, please, in the comments, link the video, because holy shit, man. And that pretty much does it for affixes and itemization. For your base skill, you can go with Frenzy or Flay. They're both good. I went with Flay because I do enjoy the extra bleed damage, and it also gives you a little bit of damage reduction and thorns. And then on top of that, you have a chance to make the enemy vulnerable for 2 seconds. So I wanted a little bit more survivability, and the extra bleed damage is just really nice. For your core ability, you'll want to use Upheaval. It has insane damage, and it's also one of the very few AoEs accessible to the Barbarian. It's great for clearing large mobs, and it's good for whittling down bosses as well. For the secondary node, you'll want to pick up the one that gives you the berserking when you hit 2 or more enemies for 2 seconds, and then it extends to 3 seconds if you hit 4 or more enemies. You'll end up using 2 shouts for this guide, and that's Rallying Cry and War Cry. Rallying Cry provides you with a very useful tool, Unstoppable, makes you invulnerable to CC, and it also provides you with Fury when you pop it, as well as added Fury regen. War Cry is amazing for the Berserking bar because it provides you Berserking, and it also gives you a little bit of Fortify when you use it. Next up is my favorite Barbarian ability, Death Blow. This is where you see the barb do this massive overhead swing, and it just chops the enemy in half. Not only does it feel amazing to use, but it does insane damage. Now it is a conditional skill, which is that if you execute an enemy with it, the cooldown resets. You'll have to kind of gauge where your damage is at, but once you whittle down an elite mob to around 60%, you'll be able to tap them with Death Blow. Lastly, for the ultimate, I know most people would think that they'd want to go for Wrath of the Berserker, but if you look at the skill, all it does is give you Berserking for an extra 10 seconds. You are unstoppable too, but pretty much everything else in your kit gives you that anyways, and you're always going to have Berserking up. So what I went with was Iron Maelstrom. It's basically like a giant oh shit button that clears the entire screen for you, and it gives you a little bit more variety in skills. You've seen the skills, you've seen the gear, let's move into final thoughts. Alright, so I gave you guys the short answer in the beginning of the video. No, the barb does not suck. In fact, I would make the argument that he will probably be top dog at launch. Now, I will be doing an in-depth beta review very soon, so I'm going to keep this to mostly barb-related topics. Let's talk about drop rate. Now, I only found 5 legendaries up until about 25. Then, after I noticed my legendary drop rate increased exponentially after 25. Something I really haven't seen many people talk about. Maybe it was just my RNG, who knows. But now a lot of people are saying, don't fall for the trap because the barb is too item dependent. To be honest with you, even if you're playing the sorceress, you're not going to be running around naked, alright? Even the sorceress needs gear. So, I mean, the game is pretty much designed to where you find the gear to make you powerful. Yes, because of the sorceress and the necromancer, You know, they're ranged characters, so they're going to have a little bit of an advantage because they can, you know, distance themselves from the enemy in a sense. But if you're anything like me and you like being fully immersed in the combat, you're going to love the Barbarian. The melee abilities feel extremely nice to play. Blizzard absolutely nailed the combat with this game, so I'm very impressed, like a 10 out of 10 with the combat. I don't think any other ARPG feels this way. I absolutely love it, and that's one of the strengths of this game. So we all know that Blizzard increased the drop rate during the beta. I don't know if they 3 times it, 4 times it. I don't know the exact number. I was getting a legendary maybe every dungeon. Towards the end of the beta, it was weird. There were some dungeons I got like 3 or 4 legendaries. But if I'm only getting a legendary every 3 dungeons, that's not that bad, right? But people are worried now, saying like the Barb's going to suck because it's too item dependent and it's not going to be able to find those legendaries that it needs. Completely disagree. The Barbarian's damage was insane when I only had a few legendaries in my inventory. Maybe people were just taking some time to figure out the skill tree and building wrong. I don't know. It's going to be more dependent on items than other classes early on in the game for sure. Absolutely agree. But it's going to be better off in the long run because you get 4 weapons. More weapons means more affixes for you to choose from, giving you a lot more variety in your build. And so you're going to be a lot better off in the end, right? You might have to make some sacrifices early. It's not going to be quite as easy as the sorceress. But to be honest with you, the only boss that I had issues with throughout the entire playthrough up until 25 was the Den Mother. I think I was like level 11 or something like that. And it only took me like 6 or 7 tries to kill it. You know, it's funny, you know, because like the same people, and I'm not trying to call people out, but like the reality is the same people that are talking about longevity and endgame and is it the 10,000 plus hour game? These are the same people that are like bummed that they're not blowing through the game and it's not easy enough, it seems like. Kind of weird to me. I mean, let's be real. How long have we been waiting for this game to come out? I honestly don't want to blow through it. I hope it lasts a long time. Like, I hope that the main storyline is a challenge. I hope Lilith is hard as fuck to beat. I hope I get a cool little fucking Lilith Slayer title afterwards too. And everyone's like, holy shit, you beat Lilith. I know that's not going to happen. I'm tunnel dreaming here, but you get my point. The affixes are going to be the bread and butter of this game. So the Barb is going to have a serious advantage. And I'm not even just talking end game. I'm so tired of hearing this fucking end game, man. I want the main story and I want the game as a whole to be really good. If I had a friend who, you know, never touched a Diablo game and wanted to get into this game, hands down, I would suggest to them that they play Sorceress or Barbarian. I think the Barbarian is in a great place. I hope they don't mess with them too much before launch because they're really, now that I got a feel for them, I hope they don't change a lot and I have to like relearn a bunch of stuff because everyone's complaining that the Barb is too weak. Again, to kind of wrap this up, I completely disagree. Hopefully this video gave you guys a different perspective on some of the crap that you're probably seeing online and on YouTube. But let me just say this. I know what I'm playing at launch, so I'll see you suckers there, all right? I'll be snapping necks and cashing checks. And you little sorceresses running around. I'm coming for you, all right? Well, on that note, love you guys. Like and subscribe. Goose out.